And hello, everyone. Welcome to a power scanning session, to our power scanning session. It is August 30th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Daniel, and I'm greeting you today from our beautiful office here in Montreal, in Canada. It is a cold day today, only 14 degrees. Oh boy, where has the summer gone? 14 degrees, rain, gray skies. Oh my goodness. I hope this summer will come back for at least a week or so. We'll see. All right, exciting things happening today. We will see some very interesting stocks, which are potential entries for next week. So we're going to get to these. But before we get into all of this, where are you calling in from? Who do we have in the room today? And I can see we do have a really full room. So please put your location into the Q&A box. Who do we have today in our room? All right, somebody's asking, does it begin at 1 o'clock? Yes, it does. All right, and Andrea from Hamburg, Germany. Hey, Andrea. V. Gates. Richard from Alberta. Hey, Richard, how's it going? Are you in Calgary by any chance? Suzanne from Dresden, Germany. Hey, Suzanne, how are you? Tony from McKinney, Texas. Hey, Tony, nice to have you. Larry from Minneapolis. Hey, Larry, how's it going? Jay from California. Gernot from Vienna. Hey, Gernot. V. Gates. Devendra from Princeton, New Jersey. All right. Eric from Maryland. Aubrey from pleasantly ambient evening in Cyprus. All right. Yes, I'm sure the weather is a bit better in Cyprus than here in Montreal today. Lenny, yes, he says, why is it so cold in Canada? I don't know. It's just this. Yeah, Lenny is greeting from New York City. And he says the weather is much better there. All right. Derek from Ontario, Bill from Columbus, Hema from Austin, Texas, Sharon from New Mexico, John from Fort Collins, Colorado. All right. Wow. What a full crowd today, international crowd. I'm super excited. All right. So let's get into it. All right. So today, what we'll be doing and what we do every single week is we will be looking for swing trades. And just as a reminder, a swing trade typically has a duration between 2 and 20 weeks. So it's not a day trade, which you may open and close within the same day. It's also not like a really long-term investment, which you may hold for many years or perhaps for life. So it's right in the middle of these two extremes, swing trades. And we actually call this the 13-minute Sunday strategy. Well, I'm well aware today is not Sunday, it's Saturday. But the idea is that, using our beautiful scanner, you can go into the scanner, look for setups. It will not take more than perhaps 10 to 13 minutes. And you can do this every day, including Sunday. And oftentimes our users do it on the weekend to prepare for the week ahead. And as you will see, as we will all see today, this is a really fast process once you know what to look for. All right, for those of you who are joining us for the very first time today, a quick introduction. We are tradingindicators.com. My name is Daniel here on the left-hand side, and we have created trading indicators about 10 years ago. And as our name suggests, we specialize on the creation of innovative trading indicators. We have built a lot of these indicators for clients all over the world. We did some accounting the other day, and we have built more than 1,000 trading indicators for all major platforms: TradingView, TradeStation, Wave, NinjaTrader, MetaStock, MetaTrader, Thinkorswim, and so forth. So we've got it all covered, and we've seen it all. And I should also introduce our remaining team. There's Homer. Homer is my partner in crime here in the middle. She's also in the chat today, looking out for your questions. And we also have Nicholas. Nicholas has been our lead developer in the last years. And most of what we do is grounded in what's called technical analysis, which is basically a mathematical pattern analysis of your price chart. We believe that fundamentals are, first of all, very hard to read and interpret. And secondly, they are almost immediately priced into your chart. And therefore, by analyzing your chart from a technical point of view, you will indirectly also take into account these fundamental information. We also believe that trading should be simple. In fact, trading is simple, but you need to know what to look for. And secondly, you need to use the right tools, because oftentimes, good trading tools, good trading scanners, good trading indicators, they can do most of the heavy lifting for you. And lastly, please make this webinar your own. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Put your questions into the Q&A box of our webinar tool, and we're going to get to these as we proceed through this presentation. All right. Now, also a quick reminder that trading futures and stocks and FX and really every asset class does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas, strategies, and setups discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right. Now, a couple of housekeeping items, and I promise you we're going to get to the charts in just a second. First off, you may have noticed, or perhaps you attended, we had our last Tech Talk last Thursday, August 28 at 6 p.m. The recording is now available at tradingindicators.com/tech. And Homa, please put this link into the chat box so that you can rewatch our Tech Talk on deciphering the market story, where we basically show you which indicators we use to figure out what is the current market story. Or in other words, how did we end up here? How did price end up here? Which path did it take to get to where it is right now? And why is this important? Well, because it will help us to predict what price may do in the future. And as you know, stock trading and any kind of trading is a little bit about forecasting of what may happen in the future. Also, we have a special offer available right now where we offer our market story indicators, our market sentiment indicators, and our market IQ indicators at a 30% discount. What these indicators are, you can see at this link here, tradingindicators.com/story. And in fact, I think I made a mistake when I said it's tradingindicators.com/tech for the recording. That's actually the wrong link. It's tradingindicators.com/story. This will bring you to a page where you can rewatch the recording. My apologies for that. So go to tradingindicators.com/story instead. And as I mentioned, you will get a 30% discount on our market IQ and market sentiment indicators. All right, moving on. We have recorded a very comprehensive bootcamp about the scanning tool, which we will be using today. The scanning tool is called Liquidity View. If you have not watched it yet, watch it at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. And why do I say this? It's because in these sessions, in today's sessions, we will only use a small subset of the features. There are so many features in there. Today, we won't have time to get through all of them. If you want to know what all these features are, please check out the bootcamp. Also, we do have a Discord channel, which is completely free to join, available at tradingindicators.com/discord. And Homa, please also put this link into the chat. And lastly, it would be really great if you would follow along today using the same scan process, the same scan criteria as I will be using today, using our Liquidity View dashboard. And in order for you to do this, well, either you can be already a subscriber, or if you're not a subscriber yet, you can sign up for a full week of a free trial right now at tradingindicators.com/view. Go to the site, sign up for a free trial. You get instant access. This is really fast. This will not take more than 30 seconds or perhaps 1 minute. Then you have access to the dashboard, and you can follow along exactly the same scanning steps that I will be using today. And I can promise you there are some really interesting candidates for a trade available for next week. Lastly, and then we're going to start with the charts, we also have written an ebook called The Power of Three, where we detail our 3 main setups that we will be using today. It's called The Power of Three and available at this link, tradingindicators.com/power-of-3. And Homa will also put this link into the chat box. And lastly, if you have any ideas and suggestions regarding the dashboard, please don't be shy. Put your suggestions into the Q&A box or send us an email. This is what drives the further development of the dashboard. Many of the features which are available right now, they were directly driven by your feedback. So please don't stop sending us suggestions. Everything is welcome. And if possible, we will integrate these suggestions into our dashboard. All right, now without further ado, let's get into it. Let's have a market review. What has happened last week? So I'm going to move over to our dashboard. If I can find it, just give me 1 second. There we go. I'm going to close this up. Perfect. So this is our Liquidity View dashboard. And let's start with the SPY. What has happened in the S&P 500s last week? Well, pretty much business as usual. You can see it here. We made yet another all-time high last week after the minor correction that we saw the week before. It was a level 3 correction. Prices were bought up almost immediately Friday. Last week, Friday was a very bullish day. A bit of a retracement on Monday. Then we made all-time highs up until Thursday and a bit of a correction on Friday. Now, what should we assume now for the SPY? Well, first off, it's really expensive where we are right now. We are extended. You can see prices are really far away from our moving averages, from our means, meaning the air is quite thin up here. And the chance, the probability for a correction, even a minor correction, is quite high. So would I enter right now at this price level? Personally, probably not. I will wait for yet another correction. You can see it here very nice in our trend radar indicator, at least a level 3 correction, meaning 3 red bars to the downside. These are level 3 corrections. These are interesting long entry opportunities. But right now, it's merely a level 1 correction with the down day on Friday. Still too expensive. I will patiently wait for a bit of a deeper correction. Then the SPY will become very interesting again. So right now, things are really expanded and very expensive where prices are right now. But how does it look in the QQQs? The Nasdaq 100 ETF, quite similar as you may imagine, but there's a bit of a difference, a little small caveat. I will explain. Now, this is the QQQ opening up right now. There we go. Also here we can see, okay, yes, we are quite far away from our averages. Yes, we had a bullish week with a down day on Friday, but there are two differences when it comes to the SPY. First off, we are nowhere near the all-time highs. So the SPY made all-time highs last week. The QQQs did not. So Thursday was a very bullish day, but we didn't go nowhere to the all-time highs. And the correction on Friday was a deeper one. It was a level 2 correction. So where does this lead us? Well, it leads me to assume that the QQQs, the Nasdaq 100 ETF, to some degree is a laggard as compared to the SPY. It's lagging behind a little bit. Both are correlated, but sometimes this correlation goes slightly out of sync, like in this case. So if somebody would ask me, hey, Daniel, if you had to choose for a long trade right now on Monday between the QQQs and the SPY, well, I would pick the QQQs. Well, there's more room to the upside. The correction was a bit deeper, and I think it's going to play catch up next week to the SPY. So it's going to be very interesting to see if this actually pans out. All right, so let's change gears. Let's look at gold. The GLD ETF is our vehicle of choice for this. Well, gold is at a very important level. Why do I say this? Well, as you can see here, we made an all-time high on Friday. All right. Prices jumped up once again to this key resistance level. And for everyone who's new today in this room, let me quickly enable one feature here with our indicators so you can see it. Our prices are directly at this resistance zone as shown by our liquidity IQ indicator. So what may happen now in gold? Well, really only two things can happen. Either we bounce off this level. It happened many times in the past before. You can see this little green line here. Prices came up to this level, sharp bounce off. Up to the level again, sharp bounce. Now up to the level again. Will we see another bounce? Well, I'm torn. Well, why do I say this? Because at some point, the more often we try to break a level, in my view, the weaker it will get. Like using a hammer or an ice pick and you're hammering on a frozen lake, eventually it's going to break down. So now we're trying it for the 4th time to break this level. Well, perhaps we're going to break it this time, but the verdict is not out yet, especially since we do have this little shaded area here. You see this little area here? This is a very specific event. You saw it here too, little shaded area, and you saw it here too. What is this event for all of those who are joining us for the first time? Let me just enable the label here so we can see it. It's called a liquidity capture event. What is this? This is a candle which wicks or goes into a resistance level or to a support level, but it's on the opposite side, but in this case to the resistance level, and this candle cannot break the level. So we're still on this level right here, and it has abnormally high volume. And oftentimes this can be a sign that, in this case, sellers are stepping in, the volume is spiking up because of this, and this will drive prices further down. So in our view, whenever this event happens, this will increase the chance of a bounce from this level rather than a break of this level. So it's going to be very interesting to see on Monday what will happen. My personal, if I had to bet, I would pick the bounce scenario. We're going to bounce off the level once again to the downside. Will I act on it? I'm not so sure because gold, of course, is very bullish. I would go against the overarching trend. Maybe with a very small position with put options at the most, but I would not trade it outright for this. This symbol is way too bullish. I think we're definitely going to break this level this year. It's just a matter of time. Will this happen next week? I have my doubts. I think this could lead to another correction of this level. All right, moving on. What about oil? Let me move on to the USO, the United States Oil Fund. This is typically what we look at. And I'm gonna keep it short here because oil is really boring right now. It is caught right in the middle, in between. You can see it down here. Let me just move this line. In between support all the way down here at the 60 area and resistance all the way here at 81 or 83. While we are in the middle, I'm not going to touch oil for now. I'm going to patiently wait until it goes to either extreme, either to the upside around the 83 area. I'm going to look for a bounce, or perhaps to the downside, to this support level. I'm looking for a bounce to the upside. But right now, caught in the middle, not super interesting. I want to stay away oil until things get a bit more interesting. All right. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is
Daniel,
also
we do have a
interesting.
bunch of questions already. I'm wondering if we can get to them before you move on.
Let's just do Bitcoin real quick, and then we're gonna do the other one. Is that cool? Let's just this
Yeah,
one. This will just complete
go
the
ahead.
market review. Perfect. Okay, Bitcoin, the BTC USD, interesting as well. Well, why do I say this? And by now, I think you already know what I'm looking for. Well, Bitcoin made an all-time high here on August 14. You can see it here. It came all the way up to this resistance level, even went a little bit higher. Okay. This all-time high did not last. We sharply bounced off from it. And if you look what happened also on those candles, look at these shaded areas, liquidity captures. Once again, something that pay very close attention to because this can increase the probabilities that we're actually going to see a bounce of a level rather than a break of the level. So we bounced off, we declined, and we're actually quite out of sync right now with the SPY. Interestingly, because Bitcoin and the SPY and also the QQ used to be kind of correlated, this is broken now. So while the SPY and the QQs, they went higher last week, Bitcoin went lower, and now we are at a critical juncture. Look where we are right now. At this key level, this green level here, this used to be a resistance level. We broke this resistance level back here in July, on July 9th. Once the level is broken, it changes rules. Resistance will become support. Price right now is at this support level. Will it hold? That's the big question for the next week. It is going to be a tight race. I don't see any liquidity captures here. My feel, of course, it's just a feel. I feel we're going to go even deeper in Bitcoin to the 98,000 area. This would be the next stop if this level does not hold. Let me just quickly see what's the live market doing right now. Just, of course, was the end of Friday. What we saw right now at the live market is a little bit higher right now at 108,700. So far the level is holding. Let's see if it actually holds throughout next week. And yes, Homad, please, what other questions so far
So I think
that
we've
came
moved
in?
on from the chart. I was asking John which one he was referring to, but he's saying, isn't it significant that it closed above that resistance level for the first time?
Oh, not in our view. What we want to see for Bitcoin here, for example,
I don't
is
think he
that
was referring to Bitcoin, whatever chart you were looking at before Bitcoin.
yeah, but the principle applies in general. So in our view, a level is only broken when a candle completely clears this level. This is clearly not the case here. The candle went a little bit higher, but we didn't clear the level completely. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. Let's go back to the SPY to look for a good zone break. All right, so what's going on here? So in the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, we can see here our resistance level is all the way down here, meaning it was broken in the past. And to us, this level break actually only really happened at this candle here. This was the very first candle. You see this one here? Let's make this a little bit bigger. This was the very first candle which completely cleared this level. And only then, in our view at least, that's a signal. Hey, now we do have a signal, a level break. Now we may see a breakout move to the upside in this case. All right.
Great.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Gerald is asking, so is there an explanation that oil futures shows a support level much higher?
The explanation is that the prices are different, and the futures, of course, they don't necessarily follow the spot price of oil. And also, USO is an ETF which tracks the oil price, and I believe it uses some future contract with different expirations as a base. I think there's also some other stuff that goes into this. So the price levels are simply different. That's the reason. And therefore, levels might be different too if the underlying price is different. Yeah.
Gerald also wants to know if you can explain the VIX. Is it 30-day? So based on the option volatility indicator.
Yeah, the VIX, we have it here too. I believe it must be quite low. I haven't looked at it actually before this webinar. Yeah, it's in the 15. That's a super low level. Everything below 18, people say is super bullish for the stock market. You can see it here. It came, yeah, we've been at extremely low levels for weeks now. The only small spike that we had was on August 1st. And if you correlate this, you will see this was actually quite a bit of a down day in the SPY when this happened. Actually, what I did, I had some long calls in the VIX, which I bought earlier. I sold them here because I had a feeling, oh boy, the VIX will not do much. It will not spike up. This bullish move that we're seeing right now is going to continue. So I got rid of my calls here with the spike, which was good. I made a small profit there. And if you just correlate this, August 1st, remember this day, if you go back to the SPY, you can see that this is most likely a down day in the SPY. So let's just check it out. August 1st is probably this guy here. See this one? We gapped down, and this correction was correlated, of course, with a spike in the VIX.
So Gerald's saying our indicator, actually. He wants to know it for our indicator, not the VIX. So Gerald,
Which
I'm not sure which of our indicators you're referring to. Are you referring to what we have on this power scanning?
Yeah, let's maybe, Gerald, let's take this away. Perhaps you can send a quick note by email afterwards. Because I really want to get to today's setups because which are very exciting. And of course, there are going to be some symbol requests we're going to get to. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of other quick questions and then we can move on. So
Yeah.
Lenny wants to know what you mean when you say the QQQ says it's catching up. Are you talking about
Yeah.
all-time highs?
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look. Let's switch over to dual chart mode. I'm going to quickly put the QQQ at the bottom here. Just a second. Okay. And let's have a look. Where is it? There we go. All right. So we can see it here. They are definitely correlated. This is the SPY. Oh, this is the daily. So perfect. So that's let me just move this so it looks kind of the same. There we go. So the timestamps match up, May and May. Okay, so if we look, just move this over a little bit, you can see that it's basically the same chart, more or less. We follow the same pattern. When one goes up, the other one goes up. And these are two different symbols. But recently, and if you look closely, if you look closely here, you can see the SPY pushed to all-time highs, while the QQQs does not. It's below this level. And on my view, this is a temporary out of sync situation between these two symbols, and they will catch up again, or they will synchronize again. And the way to do it, I believe, since we didn't make an all-time high in the Qs yet, is for the QQs to make an all-time high next week or so. And for this, prices would need to jump up. This is why I said I would take the QQQ for a long trade over the SPY right now.
And if you could just quickly show our audience how you did the double chart, because I know that's
Yep.
a new feature.
Yeah, it's a new feature. It's
yeah.
just here in the settings, Lanny. Go here. There's a little button, dual chart view. Just enable this and you get this double chart. And if you disable it, you go back to the single chart. All right. Perfect. Okay, and as for the bootcamp, I see a question here. Does it have all the recent updates explained? Almost all of them. Just a few are not because they're brand new. And of course, we will have to record this bootcamp, but most of the recent features are explained in there. Okay, so let me go back to the next topic. The next topic is the trade setups, which are interesting for the week ahead. But before we do this, let's do a quick retrospective. Let's have a look what we picked last week and how these picks turned out. So for this, I'm going to go to my watch list here. I'm going to go down to the watch list we created last week from August 23rd. And we can see here last week we picked 8 interesting symbols. And the first one is Eli Lilly. And Eli Lilly had a very special situation, which was the following. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. You can see it's actually a very bullish stock overall. So it's now correcting, but before this, the stock has been going up for many, many years, now in a correctional phase. But what we noticed last week was the following. It's really interesting, actually. We gapped down in August. Beginning of August, we gapped down a lot from here all the way down to this level. This was a big, big gap. Prices went all the way down, but then they recovered and prices came up. And last week, August 23rd or 22nd, we were here. This was Friday's close price from last week. I made this prediction. Well, this gap is almost closed. You can see it here. This gap from here to here is almost closed. We are going to close this gap very soon completely. And guess what happened? Yeah, this gap close happened right here. We were spot on. This is very often the case. When a gap is about to fill, oftentimes the fill will be completed. So this happened in Eli Lilly. And now, of course, we have to see what prices are going to do. We're still correcting after this big move up after the all-time highs. And I'll be careful to enter long now. This was a small scalp trade. I perhaps would wait until prices come down to the support level and perhaps look at longs. But right now, I would stay on the sidelines. All right. WW Granger. This, by the way, was our trade of the week, I think 2 weeks ago. A beautiful trade. We called it out all the way down here. When prices also gapped down to the support level, look at the move we had afterward. It was a beautiful trade. And then I said, okay, maybe also here, since this gap fill, you see this gap here, is in progress, we may see it completely filled last week. It didn't happen yet. I still think it's going to happen very soon. So this is still something we're going to keep an eye on. Prices are here right now. I think this gap fill is about to happen in the near-term future. All right. Okay, Reliance, where are we right now? This was a bounce trade. Reliance came down all the way to this key support level. And we said, okay, after this big move down here, we may see prices to turn up. It happened a little bit. Prices are up a little, a couple of percent. I think this move is going to be much bigger. We just have to be patient with this one. So this is for Reliance. We're still waiting for this big bounce to happen. But things are looking pretty good here as well. Then we had CPU.AX. What was that? Yeah, that was the only trade really which did not work out yet. We thought, hey, we're going to bounce off the support level to higher price levels. No, we went a little bit further down. Prices are recovering now. I still have hope for the setup, but it's the only one where it's a bit more difficult right now. So I want to see prices to come above this level here very soon. If they do, I think we're going to go all the way to this resistance level. But for now, we'll have to wait and see for this particular trade. The Williams Company, great symbol. Actually, a symbol I bought calls on Tuesday when prices came all the way down to this support level. Calls are very cheap. I bought them with 2 months expiration, September 18 or 21st. I forget what the exact date was. Out of the money calls, I think around 6 or 58, 59 calls. Super cheap. I bought a whole bunch of them. And this obviously is working out so far very nicely. Prices are turning up. I anticipate prices to come all the way up to this resistance level in the next month. And then I'm going to get rid of my calls at this point. So far, so good for this one. Unrum Group, also an interesting one, but this one is falling asleep, unfortunately. I was very hopeful for this stock. It went all the way down to this key support level after gapping down. I think this were earnings or something happened here. Big gap down. Prices stopped at support. I was hoping we're going to see a gap fill very soon, but nothing really is happening right now. Prices are where they are right now, just flattish. And the longer this takes, the less I like this setup because I like the bounce to happen very quickly. Like here, prices go up to the resistance and they bounce off sharply. That's what I want to see. This is taking a bit too long for me, so this does not look so interesting anymore. There's no harm, no foul. Prices are basically where they are when we entered or when we suggested this, but it looks a little bit less interesting right now. And finally, GDG.AX, an Australian stock, great setup here. Zone break retrace. I'm going to discuss the setup in a bit when we look for the new ones. Prices broke above resistance, initially go up, then retraced back to the broken level, and this oftentimes can be a launch pad for the actual move upwards. Exactly this has happened with this particular stock. This worked out nicely. And one more, Orla Mining. Also here, we did have, I believe, a very nice bounce off our support level down here. So this worked out quite nicely as well. And here, this gap fill that we can see here is in progress right now. I think there's a good chance we're going to see this fill happening in the next couple of days. All right, so far so good. I think this turned out really nicely. But of course, today We don't want to, pat ourselves on the shoulder about what happened last week. We want to find new interesting setups for the next week, which we actually can action on or trade on Monday or Tuesday. All right, so how do we find these setups? So I'm going to go to my slides for 1 second, and I'm going to explain to you what these setups are. And in fact, what we're going to do right now is we're going to, find some interesting stocks. I'm going to put these stocks into a watch list. I'm going to share this watch list with you. So everybody who has a subscription to our dashboard or everybody who has access to our dashboard can see this watch list, and this will make it very easy for you to keep track of those stocks that we pick in this scanning session. All right, so that's we're going to create this hot list or watch list, and then at the end we're going to do a detailed analysis of the stocks or of the setups which look the most interesting. All right, now what are these setups we're going to look for? And typically, my focus is on the first one and the last one, the bounce setup and the zone break retrace setup. So how does this work? Well, for a good bounce setup, and I should say, I am primarily interested in bullish setups. Why? Because stocks typically have an upside bias, a bias to the bullish side. And by trading with the bias instead of trading against the bias, we already have a little bit extra odds in our favor. So what do we want? We want a stock to go up for a long time. And what you want the symbol to be in a steady long-term uptrend. That's condition number one. Condition number two, we want the stock to pull back a little bit. In every trend, there are pauses in trend. Nothing goes up in the straight line, as this arrow may suggest here. No, prices take breaks. So you can see prices went up, came down, prices went up, they came down, prices go up, and they come down. We want to wait for a break. And ideally, this break, and this will be called pullback also, this break coincides with a key support level. You can see here prices are bullish, they initially go up, and then they take a break, and they come down to a key level. This is where I get really interested in the setup, because this is when, in my view, the chances are pretty good that we're actually going to see off this level towards the middle, in between support and resistance. Because lots of things are in our favor. The trend is up. And the trend is your friend. It's easier to trade with the trend. The chances that the trend will continue are higher than the trend reversing. That's a fact. That's statistically proven. Secondly, prices pulled back. They became cheaper, meaning I can make the purchase at a lower price, which is good. And also I have less risk on the table as my stop loss will be nearby. That's great too. And thirdly, we are near a key support level from which prices may bounce off naturally. So this is what I would like to find. Well, how do we find these stocks? Well, let me go back to our scanner. You can see it here. I'm going to go to our entire universe of symbols, which currently are at 5,661 symbols. That's a huge number, which we can scan through. And let's search. So criteria number one, do you remember what it was? We need to be bullish. Now, in order to figure this out, we actually have developed an indicator which shows us whether a stock currently is bullish or bearish. Let me show it to you. I'm going to show this loads here. There we go. Look at this indicator here. I'm going to hide the other one. Look at this one here. What do you see here? These labels, bearish and bullish. And if the last label on the chart is bullish, it means right now the trend is up. This is what we want to look for. So this indicator is called MA Rush. You can see it here. It's one of our proprietary indicators, MA Rush. And this indicator draws these labels on the chart. But the beautiful thing about this is that our scanner on the left-hand side here allows us to scan for stocks where the last label has been bullish. How do we do this? Well, we go to the left-hand side, we select our MA Rush column, and we click on this little filter icon to the right of it. I click on it. There are many different options, but the one that we want to use right now is bullish. And once I do this, click, this is instantaneously, we can see that of our 5,600 stocks, 2,700 of them are currently bullish. You can see every single stock has an up arrow here. Yeah. And you see also a number next to it. This number is the duration of the uptrend. So for example, this currency pair, Swiss yen, has been bullish for 1,818 trading days. It's like 6-7 years, only bullish, bullish, bullish. We're going to get to this number in a second. So this was criteria number one. Criteria number two is we want to have pulled back to a key support level from where we can bounce off from. So for this, we also have developed an indicator which draws. You can see it here, which draws these key levels of support and resistance directly on your price chart. And this indicator is called Liquidity IQ. This is the indicator here, draws these levels on it. And this is so important. These are the lines in the sand that you want to pay attention to. These are the lines in the sand where prices will react to when it comes to them. And we as traders, we can take advantage of this. So how can we now scan if prices are currently near a support level? Not like this one here. This one is right in the middle, in between levels. We want to scan for prices to be near a key level. How do we do this? Well, we're going to go once again to our Liquidity IQ setup, to our scanner here, and we select the Liquidity IQ setup column this time. Let me click on the filter, and we select long bounds. There are many different options, but in this case, we select non-bounds. You can see once I do this, we are now down to, what is this little symbol? 97, 97 symbols of our almost 6,000, only 97 qualify. That's fantastic. So we narrowed down a lot. And now I do one more thing. I will sort by trend duration. Let me show you what I mean by this. So for example, this first one here, AFI.AX. You can see it's an uptrend, and we see the number 44 here, meaning this stock currently, you can see it's definitely at a key support level, which is nice. But we can also see that here, for this stock, the trend recently changed to bullish. It's not that established yet. I mean, it's definitely an interesting setup. I may take a closer look at this one. But ideally, I like to focus on stocks where the trend, the uptrend, has been very steady and consistent and going on for a very long time. So how do we do this? Well, it's very simple. I can sort by trend duration by simply clicking on this column. I click on it, and now I have sorted from highest to lowest in terms of trend duration. The first one that pops in is Cetas Corporation. By the way, this was our trade of the day on Tuesday in our lunch and learn session. We can see it here. It's a beautiful setup. I actually sold some puts there on Tuesday myself, so I like this setup so much. It's a very bullish stock. If I zoom out here, look at this. It's been going up for a long, long time. Up, up, up once this loads. Give it a second. Very steady uptrend, just one direction. But lately, and this is what made it interesting, we posted all-time highs. Yes, you can see it here. But we also bounced off this key resistance level, and we're trading much lower now. Where do we retrace to? This key support level around 208. And I really like this setup. I believe that prices may bounce, or hopefully will bounce off this level towards the middle, at least, in between support and resistance. As I said, I have sold some puts on, I believe, Tuesday. Volatility was quite high for this particular stocks, meaning puts or option prices were quite elevated. And if you want to be an option seller, you want to sell high, obviously. You want to sell when option prices are expensive. So I sold some puts here in the anticipation that, okay, we're going to trade higher. I'm going to collect the premium. And once prices trade higher, I will then buy back those puts at a lower price to make a profit. So definitely an interesting one. We're going to add this one as our first candidate to our watch list for next week. So for this, I'm going to create a new watch list. I'm going to go to this drop down here, scroll all the way down, say create. And it's going to be called the setups colon. Oops, there we go. Colon 2025 0830, today's date. I created. And what I'm also going to do now, I'm going to share this watch list with you. I'm going to use this little share button here. And I'm going to unshare the watch list from July 26, because that's old news now. So we said we're always going to keep the last 5 watch lists in as a shared watch list. I'm going to unshare this one. Perfect. And now I'm going to add this stock here, Cintas Corporation, a company which is in uniforms. And they trade or manufacture specialty uniforms. I'm going to add this one to our watch list. Setups 2025 0830. Done. Great. Okay, Unum Group. As you can see here, we discussed this setup already when we did our review from last week. It's not so interesting to me anymore. I think prices are falling asleep. I'm going to skip this one for today. We had it a few times, but the longer this holds on, and I think we had this discussion also at some point, the longer this holds on, the more this looks to me like a bear flag. A bear flag has like a formation like this, where this is the flag post. This is my actual flag here. The longer this drags on, I think this looks more and more bearish, and we may see another leg further down. So I don't want to be caught on this. I'm going to skip this one. AGO, Assured Guarantees, our next one on the list. What's going on here? All right, so it's going to load. Okay, this is an annotation from, oops, sorry, 1 second. What did I do? Okay, this was an annotation from last week. I'm going to take it away. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's an interesting one. The only thing I don't really like about this one, oh, I have so many strange annotations here. The only thing I don't like about this one is that, this kind of looks like a downwards facing triangle, like a descending triangle to me almost here, which is also a bearish pattern. And I have a feel for this particular stock that we're going to correct a bit lower. It's definitely a bullish stock, bullish for 1,136 trading days, but I have a feeling we may see a correction all the way down to this level. I don't want to be caught at this level up here. So I'm going to skip this one too, because I think prices are going to come down a bit lower. I may be wrong. Of course, then this could be a nice entry opportunity for a bounce off this level. But for now, we're going to skip this one. DB1.de, German Stock Exchange. Yes, for all the Germans among you, I like this setup a lot. So, of course, if you're in the US, maybe this is a symbol which is not so interesting, but for the German viewers here, a very interesting one. I really like it. Very steady uptrend. You can see it here. We broke to all-time highs back in May 2025. Now the retracement back to this key support level. I think this could be a very interesting one for a bounce. We may go down all the way to this level here, 244. So I definitely would wait. Maybe put my entry zone. Just make this a little bit bigger. Put my entry zone around this. Oops. Can I drag it? There we go. Around this level. I'm going to wait a little bit for prices to come down a little bit further. If they do, I think this can be a very interesting long entry opportunity here for this particular stock. So we're going to add this one to our watch list. All right. Next, Alliance Resources and Partners, a company in energy, bullish for 1,029 trading days in thermal coal. All right. All right. Let's have a look at this one. Actually, I almost bought some calls in this one as well, but they were very expensive. And actually, the spread for the options were not favorable. So I skipped this one. I liked it. It's quite volatile. You can see it here. Prices are very bouncy, but now we are at this key support level. It definitely would for me, this would only be an options trade where I can clearly manage my risk, a long trade in options, long call options. But when I looked last week, very expensive and not very liquid. So I skipped this one. But from a technical point of view, I definitely could foresee an interesting bounce off this level. But since we cannot trade the symbol the way I think we should trade with options, I'm going to skip this one as well. Too expensive. Pampa Energy. All right. Okay, bullish of 1,001 trading days. Yeah, also after the all-time highs, pulling back to this key support level. We do have a liquidity capture a couple of days ago. Remember, this always magnifies a little bit the odds that we actually will bounce from this level rather than breaking it. And yeah, interesting one. I do feel a bit, it looks like kind of bearish to me here too. This correction could go all the way down to this level. Also gonna skip it. We're gonna get some nicer ones, trust me. Definitely some interesting one coming up. Rheinmetall. It's a weapons company. I know maybe not the most ethical stock, but here we are looking at technical setups. I like it. It's from a technical point of view, it's a really interesting setup. We bounced off the second MA rush line here. You can see it. This was dynamic support at some point all the way down here. Here again, now I think there's a good chance we're going to go all the way to this resistance level. It's not too far away, but we still have about 100, 150 points to make. So 5% perhaps is still available. And I do believe, yeah, we will see some further bullish price action in the stock after this correction has been completed. So I'm going to add this one to our list. There we go. And perhaps two more. Vertex Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, a company in healthcare, bullish for 893 trading days. And I like this one. Look at this one. Now, what's happening here? Ooh, very gappy, as you may say. Lots of gaps. I guess this is typical for pharmaceuticals. When a new medication comes or is approved or disapproved, there are some difficulties. Stock prices react a lot to it. I like gaps a lot. I think gaps will be closed over time. That's a good likelihood. Now we do have this down gap here, which is not closed at all. We went all the way down to this key support level. I think there's a decent chance that if we hold this level, I want to see some follow through, that we're going to close this gap. And this is a big move from 390 all the way up here to 450. That's a really sizable move. So there's a lot of opportunity here. If this stock has liquid options. I think I would consider call options here to mitigate my risk. I don't like to sell puts for pharma stocks. It's too unpredictable. Something bad happens, a medication is taken off the market. This price may move a lot to the downside. So I really want to manage my risk. But with call options, if they're affordable, I think this could be an interesting one. So I'm going to add this one to our list as well. And perhaps one more, and we're going to move on to the next setup. YPF, Sociedad and whatever, yes, I think a Spanish stock, oil and gas integrated. Let's take a look. Yeah, nice one here as well. Prices are bullish for 756 trading days. We went up and then down now to this key support level. Also here, I think this could be an interesting one for a long trade. And we may go all the way down to this one, but I feel like perhaps this is the line in the sand for a bounce off this level. Our target would be just below this resistance level. So we're going to add this one as well to our watch list for next week. All right. Perfect. Homer, any questions so far before we can go to the next setup? And the best one is yet to come. I'll promise you.
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of questions, so it'd be good to get through a few of them.
Yeah.
Aubrey has a couple of good ones. He wants to know if the Nasdaq is leading the SP 500 and whether the SP 500 might follow and fall.
Of course, that's the chicken and the egg question, right? So my view, Aubrey, is that it's the opposite, that the SPY is leading Nasdaq and the SP and the QQs will catch up to the high levels of the SPY. Why? Well, first of all, they are both very bullish. And I think because we made all-time highs in the SPY, now it's the time for the QQQs to make all-time highs. But again, I might be wrong. But if I had to pick a trade, I would rather go long QQQ than short SPY for sure. Also, shorting the SPY, just thinking it might be catching up to the lower levels of the QQQs. Too risky for me. I would go against the prevailing bullish trend, of course, in the market.
Is it something our TI pairs indicator would help with?
Could be. We can look at this perhaps in our Tuesday session when we have more time on this. Yeah.
Yeah. And he also wants to know what time span would you follow a bounce setup idea before basically giving up on it?
Yeah, as mentioned, I love it when, let me just pick a good one here, like the ideal case from last week, which we already saw it happening. Just take the filter out. This one here, GWW or WW Granger. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I mean, that's beautiful. Look at this one. Down here, and immediately we're bouncing off. The faster, the better. That's ideal. If it drags out, not my favorite ones anymore. I probably abandon the idea, but I like this one. This one, of course, also big gap, which was screaming to get close, right down here to the support level, an immediate follow through to the upside. So yeah, the shorter the better, Aubrey, in my view.
And just a comment from Aubrey that recently the Nasdaq has been leading SP 500, possibly due to strong technology sector gains.
Yeah, could be, but it's not as, I mean, that was probably maybe a bit earlier. I agree. But now rules, I think, I mean, we only have looking at 1 week where things kind of reversed a little bit, or 2 weeks. I think now the SPY might be a bit ahead because this is never static. But I agree in the past that the Nasdaq tend to lead the SPY by a bit. Yeah.
Okay, so Moshi wants to know why he's receiving long bounce setups for a couple of days, but then they stop. So he doesn't receive them and he has to log back into the platform before it starts again.
That's strange. Moshi, send us
Yeah,
an email of that. We'll look into your account. We'll have to
yeah,
take
because
this
we've
again.
never seen that before. Usually it should work.
Yeah, this is for trade alerts, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lenny wants to know, can you invest into German stock as a US client? Yeah, I think so. I would imagine so. Uh, if you are using interactive brokers, you can invest into any stock, Australian stock, German stock, French one, UK, should be no problem. Yeah.
Okay, and going back to some of Gerald's questions, he actually clarified what he was referring to. He was referring to our indicator options
Yeah.
volatility.
Yeah, we have a column here called volatility, which is an approximation of how volatile a stock is, which can give you some hints as to which options play you may want to consider. If volatility is very low, maybe consider buying options instead of selling them. If it's high, of course, you should always verify this with the actual implied volatility. That's just an approximation based on historical data. But at least you get some idea. If it's high, maybe consider selling puts if you're looking for a bullish setup. Mhm.
Are we ready for some symbol requests?
We're going to do one more setup, Holmes, and then we do the symbol request at the end. Okay.
Perfect.
All
Yeah.
right. So I'm going to go back to my slides because I have one really interesting stock to show you. I loved that when I saw this this morning when I did my preparation, which is based on what we call the zone break retrace setup. So what is this? Let me ease you in. So as you know, and no, there's no level in the world which will hold forever. At some point, it will get broken. And if a level is broken, new opportunities for us are opening up. So then, in this case, we could play the breakout trade. So instead of the bounce of the level, we are playing the breakout. For example, here in this bearish scenario where support is broken, oftentimes we see a nice bearish follow through after the level break. Or in this case here, when resistance is broken to the upside, we may see a nice follow through in the breakout direction, which in this case would be bullish. But there's one caveat because the markets are tricky and markets try to fake you out. And oftentimes it happens that after the initial pull upwards, prices are coming back down again to fake you out. And where do they come down to? Oftentimes exactly to the broken level. In this case, this broken resistance level, which at this point will act as support. You probably have heard it before. Resistance can become support or support can become resistance. This is happening here. This from a resistance level is now acting as support. And oftentimes this is a launch pad for prices to propel higher. So this is one of my favorite setups. It's a really high probability one. And we can scan for the setup using our dashboard. So how do we do this? So we're going to go back to our dashboard here. I'm going to clear out our filters. We're back to our 5,600 symbols on the chart. And now we're going to look for the zone break retrace setup. And it's a super selective one. So you'll see once I enter the criteria, we'll be down to like only a handful of stocks. It's so selective. So I'm going to go back to our Liquidity IQ setup column here. I click on filter and I select long break retrace, meaning we broke above resistance and price came back down to the broken resistance level. So I'm going to click on it. All right, down to 19. Okay, 19 stocks, still super selective. I'm going to now look at the first one here, and I love this one. You'll see. So Rimple Bay Infrastructure Limited. Never heard of it. It's an Australian stock. But I don't discriminate. It's a beautiful one. Look at this one. Once this loads, give me a second. This checks a lot of boxes for an interesting setup. Prices broke above resistance back in July, beginning of July. They went up and now they're coming down. There's a gap here to be filled. It's not completely closed yet. I think for this setup, prices are going to come on Monday or next week at least down to this level. If they do, they're going to be very interesting for me to look at because then we could play this at the long side. If you stop loss just below this level, around just below here, a couple of percents below, and the anticipation is that we're going to see higher price level after this bounce move. So super interesting one, probably or perhaps our trade of the week, even though this is a stock which is not very well known. Maybe we're going to skip it because of this, because we like to, call out trades on bigger stocks, more well-known ones. But it's definitely from a technical point of view, a really beautiful zone break retrace setup. So we're going to add this one to our list. All right. Okay, so perhaps one more, Enpro Inc. You can see how fast this is to find these setups. Just a couple of clicks, and you see what has become interesting. And for those of you who don't know, this will update every single day, not just on the weekend, because today the markets are closed, but whenever a trading day closes, like Monday night or Tuesday night or whenever, a new data comes in, there will be new setups available in the dashboard. It's super powerful. And once you get the hang of it, you take like 10 minutes every day to find the most interesting ones. That's what I do. I do it in the morning, right before the market opens. I spend 10 minutes, see, hey, what looks interesting? And then if I like it, I just go into my interactive brokers account or whatever your broker may be, and I place the trade. I do it all the time. It's a lot of fun. And it's been working out really nicely for us. So this one here, also a zone break retrace setup. Not so interesting, not so beautiful and clean as the other one, because here the breakout move kind of flat. Now we went above this level, well, down here, but now we're kind of stagnant here. It's not this nice curve which I like to see, up and curvy down, and then we stop at this level. So I'm going to skip this one. Also, the stock seems to be very volatile, quite bouncy. Even though it respects these levels quite nicely, you can see it here. So we're going to skip this one. And I think Um, maybe this one more time. One more symbol. SPX technology. All right. Wonder if these are related to the Standard and Poor. Probably not. So SPX technology also here. Oh, interesting one too. Zone break. Retrace down to the level. We already did this bounce move once down here, up a little bit, now down again. Interesting too, but again, from a technical point of view, I like to see like nicely rounded up. This is not such a clean pattern. I'm gonna skip it as well. I think we do have 4 or 5 interesting candidates for Monday, and there'll be more stocks coming in throughout the week. So let's review real quick before we go to the symbol request. So which symbols did we pick? I'm gonna go to my watch list, and we have 6 symbols. Okay. So let me start. I'm going to sort this by setup here, in fact. Let's start with the first one here. Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Let's qualify this a little bit. All right. Bullish for 893 trading days. A gap to be filled. It's very volatile. I mean, if you can trade those options, maybe it's worthwhile shot, but you definitely need to manage your risk properly because you never know if these pharma stocks, what a bad news event may do. So if options are liquid and available, that's perhaps something I would look into. So I'm going to add this one to our notes here. I'm going to put a little trade note with today's timestamp. So I remember the setup. So we can review it perhaps next week. DB1, German Stock Exchange. Yeah, I like this one for a long trade. Definitely very clean. Look how beautiful this trend moves here. Very consistent, not so crazy and erratic as some stocks. Very consistent. I like this for a bounce setup. Definitely going to add it to our list for today. So we already had this one. We already played this one. In fact, in July, this was timestamp there. Worked out. Oh, put some profits here. Now with the same setup again, I think it's going to work out again. So I'm going to add this here also to our trade notes. Good one. Okay, so definitely two interesting ones. All right. YPF Sociedad Anónima. Yeah, I like it too. It's kind of flattening out here after this big move up. Let me just quickly see what has happened in the past year for this stock, just to get a bit more context. Yeah, it's bullish. Definitely, we are in a corrective phase. I mean, it is possible we're going to go all the way down to this level to complete this correction. It is not impossible. So, if anything, trade this of a small size. But I'm gonna add it anyways to our notes here. I like it. I think it has a good chance of bouncing off this level, and just make sure to manage your risk properly. So I'm going to add this one here as well with today's timestamp. And by the way, this is our trade notes feature. You can also write text and stuff. You don't have time for this one now, but just to keep you reminded of what your thoughts were when you picked a symbol. Cintas Corporation. Oh yeah, I like it. I told you I sold puts on this one. So yeah, I like this for a long bounce. I'm going to add it to our setup. All right. And you can see here, this was a trade note from back in December 2012. So you can see we are trading this quite actively. Wow, where were we? December 10th, 2024. Where was this? Here. Wow. Yeah, great move up since then. Okay, so hopefully we're going to pick something similar right now. Okay, so let's put the annotation of today's timestamp. All right, we're done. And 2 more to go, and then we're going to look at some symbol requests. All right, Rheinmetall, German's weapons company. Again, I don't want to analyze the ethics of that, but from a technical point of view, it is an interesting bounce setup. This is a very strong uptrend, of course, of geopolitical situations and what's going on. I do believe we will see more downside action after this correction. So I'm going to add this one as well as a potential candidate. Whether I'm going to trade it is a different story, but definitely from a technical point of view, it looks interesting. And lastly here, Dalrymple Bay Infrastructure Limited. All right. Yes, that's a cool. I have no idea what this company does. Let me actually quickly see what they do. Dalrymple owns the lease of and right to operate Dalrymple Bay Terminal. Queensland, Australia. Whatever. Yeah, looks definitely interesting. Coal export. All right. From a technical point of view, really interesting one. I will definitely add it to our trade notes here. Not sure if I can trade. I believe I do. Can trade this with my Interactive Brokers account because there's no limit as to stocks, which stocks you can trade. But yeah, looks interesting. And these are the picks for our next week. Let's see how they turn out. And now, Holmes, let's get to some individual symbol requests.
Okay, let's start with Devendra. So he's asking if we can take a look at PTIR and ORCL.
Yeah,
So
PTIR.
that's right.
PTIR, what's that?
I looked it
PTIR.
up here and
Okay, so let's look at this as a trading view. And by the way, if you want a symbol edit, which we don't have in our dashboard yet, just send us a note. Okay, so this is on the daily chart on trading view. Let's have a quick look. Just see if this is
I think
configured
it's
properly.
PLTR here.
Oh,
On the
Palantir. Oh, yeah, okay. That one, of course, we have. Yeah, let's look at it. I mean, Palantir volatility high. Okay. Yeah, flagging out. It's my beautiful flag here from last time. Let's have a look. I mean, I think, but again, looks like a bear flag here to me. This is a flag pose, like a reverse flag kind of thing, which is a bearish setup. Because of this, I have a feeling I might be completely wrong, of course. In my view, we may go down to this level in this corrective move. And then we had a beautiful zone break retrace setup. So would I go long right now this level? Personally, no. I mean, I might be wrong, but we might see a correction down to this level, 130, and then this would be a prime opportunity to go long Palantir, in my view. All right.
Okay, and let's take a look at ORCL. And Devendra
O
wants to
R
know
C O Oracle. All
if
right.
there's a
Yeah.
short target on this one.
Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so bullish. I didn't even open the chart yet, but let's have a quick look what we see here. Bullish for 684 trading days, and we currently pulled back. All right, let's have a look. All right. So level 4 pullback on per trend radar. Yes, absolutely. Short target. I mean, I would not sure why you would short this stock. It's a bullish stock. I would be careful shorting it, to be honest. I definitely would. I mean, if I had to pick a direction, definitely bullish. I almost exclusively trade with the trend, which is up and not against it. If you're looking for a pullback for an entry, maybe down to this former resistance level, which we broke above here, this could act as support. That I could see it around the 200 mark, which is also a nice psychological number. But I would not short it. I perhaps would wait until the prices come down, then look at longs, but I wouldn't short. That's not my trading style. But the target would be here at around 200 if you were to short, because this is where I would look for entries for the long direction.
Okay, so let's take a look at TD for Stephanie, please.
TD Bank,
Yes.
good old TD Bank. This is our bank here in our company.
Our favorite bank, right?
It's called the Green Bank because they have green ATM machines. Okay, where is it? TD. There we go. Toronto Dominion branch. Okay, bullish for 76 trading days. Currently at the resistance level, short bounce. That's what I can see here. All right, let's have a look. Yeah, definitely looks bullish. The trend changed. If you count these bars here to this label, it's exactly 76. That's what this number tells you. And yeah, let me just quickly see if they had earnings coming up. No. Yeah, big move on Thursday for some reason. Something, maybe they announced something. Uh, we broke above resistance, quickly came back now directly at this resistance level. I mean, I would be careful right now to enter long. There's a resistance level right now where price is, which, it may take some time to get above this level. So I'd like to either wait for price to be consistently above this level, then maybe look at longs, or for price to come down to the support level. It's not that far away. Actually, whether just Friday morning, I guess. And then perhaps another long entry for a quick scalp to the upside. But yeah, looks bullish to me.
Okay, Metro, MRU, please.
Oh, MRU?
Yeah,
MRU? Like this?
that's
Oh, that,
right.
that must be a German stock, I think. Let me see.
No,
Yeah.
Metro. Is it
Oh,
German?
Metro
No.
and TS. Oh, Metro, the another Canadian stock. Oh,
Yes, I think
we should. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have to add this one to the dashboard. It's interesting. We're based out of Montreal, but we don't have that many Canadian stocks yet in the dashboard. What do we see here? Yeah, very bullish. Okay, just go back a little bit. Definitely a bullish since March 2024. A nice trend up now, a bit of a correction. I don't see a stopping point for the correction right now, unfortunately. What happened? He broke below support, came down, went up again, and now further down. This looks to me like the bearish zone break retrace set up a little bit. I would be careful of this one. There might be more downside action because of this. This is a bearish setup. We broke support, went initially down, retraced up to the broken support level, which is now acting as resistance, and this could be a launch pad for a deeper move down. I'll be careful personally with this one. It's similar to this one on my slides. We break the level here. You can see we come back up, and this could be the starting point of a bigger move downwards. So personally, I'll be careful with this
Okay,
one.
let's do a one last Canadian stock for now. Dollarama. Thanks, Stephanie. So she has
That's
really good ones.
Dollarama. I was there. When was there? I think I was there 2 days ago. Great store.
It's
Jeez.
a
It's a dollar store.
it
Yeah.
started off in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's a Montreal based.
Lots of interesting side facts here when Homer joins. Good. Okay, looks interesting. Okay, definitely bullish. Let me just see where is our and I take a note of this to add these stocks to our dashboard for next week. That's definitely interesting. Yeah, I love this one. Yeah, maybe the oh Jesus, this is a very bullish stock. I have to scroll back very far there until June 2020. Bullish, bullish, bullish. Yeah, really great. Find Stephanie from Gatineau. I think Stephanie is also German. She told me this once. Living in Gatineau, I think. Yeah, nice break. I really like this setup. Great setup. Yeah, retracement here to the support level with a liquidity capture, which could be a starting point of another move higher up. The only thing I would be just a little bit careful. I think it's a really nice bullish stock is that we do have this gap here, this up gap, which is yet to be filled. If we want to fill this gap, price may come down all the way to this 174 level. Just be a bit careful about this, but overall, yeah, great bullish stock. I like it.
We're gonna add those actually to the dashboard. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And for
So
anyone out there, if you want symbols to be added, I mean, we have a lot of symbols in there, but of course, there's always more to be added. This goes by suggestion. So send us an email. Hey, these are the symbols I'd like to add. And typically it takes us 2 or 3 days to add them to the entire scanner.
okay, so can we look at JPM for Jay, please?
JP Morgan, yeah. Yeah, Aubrey told me once this is a stock in his portfolio. He's an investment manager. I met him in Cyprus. Hi, Aubrey. Hope you don't mind if I said this. Yeah, great bullish stock. We traded a couple of times. We had it as our trade of the week back here in July. Worked out beautifully. I sold some puts here. I closed that position a long time ago, and now we are right at this resistance level. It's a very bullish stock. It's probably the Cadillac among the bank stocks in the US. So I like it a lot. Earnings are still fairly far away until things could be shaken up. The only thing I don't like about this right now at this moment is that we are extended. Prices are expensive right now. We're quite far away from our averages here, and we are right at this resistance level. So there might be a pullback coming up, but if you're willing to hold on to this one, I think this is a stock which looks good in every portfolio right now. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at UNM for Lenny, and he has a
Say it again.
comment here.
E
UNM.
U N M.
No, UNM. There's
Oh,
no E at the
Unum.
end.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the stock that's falling asleep. Yeah, with the big gap.
So he'd like to discuss the dip in April and has a specific question on whether it would have been best to enter on the second or the third day. So I'm assuming there's
In
something
that dip,
significant
I
there.
mean, this was the tariffs, I guess, tariffs announcement. Everything dipped in the market. Every stock pretty much would have been a great buy at that point. When to enter on a dip? Here, actually, for this particular stock, I probably would not have entered at all because I don't see a level here. So this particular one didn't have, because these levels don't repaint, didn't have a level around here. So I would have been careful of this particular one because if there's no clear support level, it might go even further down. I personally wouldn't have entered that one, but there are many stocks which actually went down exactly to a key level, and these would have been great opportunities to enter. All right. Okay. Affirm and MDB. I see some symbols here. Let me do this one. A, F, or M. Yes. Affirm does micro loaning. So whenever you want to buy a TV or a fridge and you don't want to pay it outright, they will finance it for you. That's the business model. And some people say that, I mean, this is speculation, of course, and I don't like to go too much into fundamentals, but if companies like Affirm or Klarna, they're going up and they are specializing on this micro loaning, that shows something about the shape of the economy. Right? People perhaps cannot afford to buy something outright. Money is tight. Could be. So that just as a little side note. So what do we have here? I believe we did have also earnings in Affirm on Thursday, if I remember correctly. We can see prices jumped up because of that. But there's a big gap here, and this ended up to be quite a bearish candle. So here, actually, I discussed this in our German webinar this morning. We had exactly this example. My take would be we're going to close this gap. That's my feel. And for this price would come down. So I definitely would not enter right now. If you come down to close this gap and we go buffer this resistance level again, then I think this could be a nice long. But for now, I'd be careful. I think prices may come down to this level here first.
Okay, let's take a look at MDB2 for George.
MDB. Okay, perfect. Mongo. Oh, this is Search Burgers. Did you get this from Search? Yeah. Yeah,
It's
big
a
jump.
technology company? Is that right?
Yeah, database. Yeah, MongoDB is I believe what they call a non-SQL database, like a new paradigm. Yeah, let's have a look. I mean, from a technical point of view, this is a bearish stock. Or trend is down. We did, of course, have had a huge gap in this week. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe earnings or something must have happened. They jumped up, but they're still bearish, and I would be careful to enter long right now. We are approaching this resistance level up here from which we may bounce to the downside. And there's a gap to be filled here. So, if you're already in this move, well, congratulations, that's great. But maybe if you think about booking some profits, I personally would be careful to re-enter into the long direction right now because you would go against the trend and there's a gap to be filled and resistance is not far away.
I think it's a good time for Ed's question. He wants to know if low volume affects your decision for a pick, regardless of what the indicators are saying.
Only to the extent where it may impact my ability to buy and sell the stock in a liquid manner. So if that's an issue, of course, if I can't get rid of my position, I wouldn't do it. But otherwise, almost no. Yeah. And Stephanie says, yes, she is from Germany, living in Gatineau. I wonder why you ended up in Gatineau. Probably, maybe it's, maybe, I don't want to speculate.
It's a great place to live. That's why. I was just in the
Ga-
Gatineau Hills a few weeks ago. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Gatineau is right next to Ottawa. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Gernot. I'm sorry. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Is that a German name? Gernot?
Gernot. Yeah,
Gernot.
Gernot.
ADSK, please.
Autodesk. Yeah, ADSK. ADSK. Let's have a look. Okay. Yes. Bullish for 430 trading days. Okay, let's have a look. What's going on there? Also a gap, huh? Wow, cool one. That's super. I love to see stuff like this. Of course, now it's hard to trade, but look at where we gapped up to. I believe the earnings came out on Friday or on Thursday night. Prices jumped up. Where did they jump up to? I mean, you can't make this up. It's right here to the T, to this level here, almost to the cent, exactly to this resistance level, and we bounced off from it. Wow, really cool. So now the question is, can we break this level? I would be careful personally. I have seen it many times that after these jumps, especially if this gap here, a gap fill is possible. And there's definitely resistance right above us. I would not enter long now. Would I go short? I would be speculation. Maybe with puts where your risk is very much controlled as a speculative trade. And if you short it here, the anticipation would be as we're going to close this gap and we'll close up this position at the latest when prices approach this level here because we also have a support down here. Yeah. All right. What about NVIDIA? I see NVIDIA here, of course. NVIDIA had earnings. Did they have earnings last week? Was it the week before? Time flies. It's crazy. It's already cold here in Montreal, which is very frustrating and dark. Okay. Yes, earnings, NVIDIA. Yeah, earnings didn't do much. I forgot where it was. Was it this week? Perhaps. Maybe it was Monday or Tuesday, I think. Yeah, earnings came up. Prices did not really move much because of the earnings. And We corrected a bit further down on Friday, as did the entire market. The SPY and the QQs went down. It's a level 3 correction. Nvidia, would I enter right now? I mean, it feels to me that I would chase Nvidia, of course. Yes, it went upgraded, had this great run up. It is very much hyped up. Uh, Personally, it's not my favorite vehicle to trade. Perhaps if you get down to this level here, 153, maybe. The reason why I say this is because not from a technical point of view only, but here I look at fundamentals a little bit. I look at things that, hey, if we ever disappoint with earnings in the future, or if something comes up which would perhaps prevent their crazy growth path they're on right now, because this is already priced in. Prices assume that Nvidia is just going to continue on that rocket path there right now. If something hinders this, I think we'll see a sizable correction because this stock is expensive. They had a stock split 10 to 1, 12 to 1, whatever that was. It was in the thousands back here, and it just still continues up. So it's been on this crazy move up since $16 in 2023, now at 174. Yeah, 10 times. So yeah, but of course, I probably would have said the same thing when prices were here. Don't buy Nvidia, it's overhyped. Then you had another 100 or 200% move. It's everybody's guess. My cup of tea, I rather wait for a sizable correction before entering here.
So for ARLP, Lenny wants to know why we can't buy stock for that and why would you only call options if they were cheaper?
It's just very bouncy, I think. Yeah, I didn't like the fact that it's so bouncy, this thing. Like it's just huge moves. That from that point of view, I was thinking if options were affordable, I would do this as options because the more volatile stock is, and of course it is a huge moves in that stock, the more risk is there on the table, the more my need is to control my risk. And this is why, and one way to control your risk, of course, is to use stock options because the stock option, all you can lose is the options premium. It's very clearly defined. This is, for stocks like this, I prefer to play it this way, but also do have a, fairly low tolerance in terms of risk. I like to protect my money in that sense and not speculate too much. Yeah.
Okay, a couple more questions, and then I think we can move on to a few more symbol requests.
Okay.
So John wants to know a question about trends. So what criteria do you use to determine bullish or bearish? And
Yeah.
his comment is that several of the stocks we've been looking at appear to be in a current short-term downtrend.
Yeah, that's true. So that's a really good question. So which one let's pick NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, we have it right here. All right. So NVIDIA, of course, we all know it's a crazy bullish stock. Let me just quickly see if that's the right example I want. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so we can see it here. We went bullish back here in March 2023. Yes, great move up. And the first thing I want to point out is look what happened here. Big correction in March, April, mainly because of tariffs. Yeah, prices came down really quite a bit. But the trend, as per our MA Rush indicator, did not change. And this is by design. This indicator is designed to act as conservatively as possible. Or in other words, to only change its mind when there's overwhelming, and I know this is very vague, overwhelming evidence that the trend actually has reversed to the downside. This, of course, could mean that short term, yes, I absolutely agree, the trend is down. But in a bigger point of view, this would just be a correction of a larger bullish trend. And in fact, this is where I get interested because this is where you want to get in at prices where things are cheaper with less risk on the table. And look how beautiful this would have worked out here. Of course, hindsight is 2020. But from a technical point of view, we saw that NVIDIA in April, when the tariffs happened, went down exactly to this key support level. And we did have a liquidity capture event. Remember this event, which amplifies the probabilities that the bounce actually is going to happen rather than the zone break. So from a technical point of view, that setup could have been picked up. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see a symbol now. XFOR for Sharon, please.
Yes, XFOR. Okay. X for pharmaceuticals. Okay, bearish for 502 trading days. I didn't click on it yet. Let's just see if we can read what we can read from this, just from the scanner before we open up the chart. It's also kind of fun. This is how I try to train myself a little bit just by reading things from the scanner. Okay, so bearish for a long time. We're definitely an uptrend. It's quite volatile. Volatility is extreme, and we are in a magnet zone setup, meaning prices are in between support and resistance, kind of in the middle of these two levels. Let's have a look if that actually is true. So I'm going to click on it. XFOR. Okay. Okay, definitely bearish. You can see it here. It's definitely not bullish. Okay. And I mean, this is a bit of an extreme setup, but we are kind of in the middle. You can see it here, can see it here in between resistance up here and support. This is our magnet zone setup. So what would be my take on this one? Well, definitely short bias. So this is a super bearish stock. This is just a minor correction within this big bearish move. Went up a little bit to a resistance level, bounced off from this one, and now I think another leg to the downside may happen. And by the way, talking about bearish stocks, what happened to Volkswagen? Used to be such a good stock, but like all of Germany's automobile industry, it's going downhill. Look at this one here. Even though we are consolidating a little bit, but also here, bearish, bearish, bearish. Some corrections along the way, but definitely bearish for a long time. If you look at our trend indicator, we went bearish here in March 2022, huge follow through. And then recently, we actually discussed it this morning as well in our German webinar, is that prices corrected up to this resistance level. And last week, actually, we called this one out. Be careful to be bullish now, Volkswagen. I think this could just be another little correction up, and we're going to bounce off this level to the downside. And exactly this is what happened. So similar to the XFOR, a little move up, but I think overall the trend is down. Sorry, I ramble. I digress. What are the other symbols? Maybe we have maybe for 10 more
just a
minutes.
comment, yeah.
Yeah.
So TD had earnings on Thursday, and we can see that on the dashboard now, can't we?
Yeah, there's a small glitch in there, but yeah, for the most
Because
part, we
that's
can
a
see.
pretty good feature. It would be nice to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Lenny, for that.
it should be shown here that there were earnings. We're looking into that. No, maybe take a quick note. I actually noticed it before that the earnings symbol was missing here. We can see
Okay.
dividends, but not the earnings one. We're gonna fix this. Yep.
Okay. Moving on. BAPA has been patiently waiting for TGTX, please.
TJTX?
TGTX. G.
GTX.
Yeah.
TG Therapeutics in healthcare, bullish for 316 trading days. Let's check it out. All right. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, big correction to the downside here with a gap. Trading now below the support level. Yeah, not my favorite setup, even though there's a gap to be filled here, but this smells a little bit like a zone break retrace and then another move further down. I'll be careful of this one.
You can
Uh,
smell zone break retraces?
no, I can smell it. Yeah, yeah.
Just kidding.
I mean, it just feels like it. But I mean, I might of course be wrong, but this looks like this setup here. Look, down, up again and further down, unfortunately. If you're along this position, I personally would be careful. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, we have a few questions on top there from an anonymous attendee. Could you take a look at them because I'm trying to figure it out. Do you have a guideline on what IV you think calls are probably too high to use?
Of implied volatility. That's
Yeah.
maybe we can take this one away for our lunch and learn session. So if you could send us a quick note, and actually I want to before we get to those, because if the question is too long, I think I'd rather have maybe some dedicated time offline, or we can cover this in a specific technical topic in our lunch and learn session on Tuesday. So let me
Yeah, that's
quickly
a great
go.
idea. So if you have specific technical analysis
Yeah,
questions, send us a note to info@tradingindicators.com and
yeah.
Daniel and Nicholas will go through it on Tuesday in the lunch and learn.
That's right. Or just find us via our homepage. That's another way to do it. We have a contact form there at tradingindicators.com. That's our homepage. Go to the main menu, click on support, then contact, and put your question into the contact form. And this one will end up straight either in my inbox or Homer's inbox, and we'll definitely get back to you.
Okay.
Also, before we get at the look at the last symbols that came up, quick reminder that we do have a special going on right now where we offer our key indicators like Liquidity IQ or Volume IQ or MA Rush, like these ones you've seen right now, or Trend Radar at a 30% discount when purchased as individual indicators for TradingView or NinjaTrader or Modify for some other platforms. So all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/story. And to get this discount, and the discount code, in fact, is story. But if you go to this page, everything will be explained there as well. All right. What other symbols do we have, Homa?
Okay, let's look at another technology symbol. Open, please.
Open?
Yeah, spelled like open. Yeah, that's right.
Open door technologies in real
That's
estate,
it.
actually, in
Yeah.
fact. Okay. Let's have a look. Ooh, yeah, crazy move. Uh, all right. Yeah, we were bearish for a long time. You can see it here, but then we switched to bullish at this point. This is why I said, hey, I mean, some people trade exclusively our Emmy Rush signals. We don't do it because I think you can further refine your entries besides this. But would you have acted on this one? You could have taken all this move here. But now I'd be careful. We are at this key resistance cluster. We have one resistance level here, another one here, just below resistance. So for a long trade, personally, I would be careful. So we may bounce off this level to the downside. Yeah.
Okay. So an anonymous attendee wants to know if retraces always appear before they hit the price level.
I'm not sure I follow that question. But for retracement, for our zone break retrace setup, we go back to this one here, what we had here, the first setup, which I really liked. Dalrymple Bay Infrastructure. Interesting stock. So that to me is a nice retracement setup. We go up, we retrace to a key level. And oftentimes this will be could be a stopping point for that retracement. And this is where I get interested because that's a really good price point to get into this position. Of course, sometimes, the move doesn't go all the way down and then you miss out on this trade. But me, or personally, my view is there's so many stocks that you can trade. Every day there'll be new setups. So I'd rather wait for the perfect setup and then trade it with the best entry price rather than, prematurely getting into this.
Okay, let's take just a couple more because I think we're running over. But
Yeah.
let's look at race for Bob, please.
Ferrari. Yeah. All right. Bullish for 679 trading
Ooh.
days. Look at the Italians, outpacing the German industry and car manufacturing. Okay, nice gap here. I think we had this one last time too. There's a gap to be filled. This uh, is quite clear. I think earnings probably brought the stop all the way down. Now we're coming back. We're in between support and resistance, but the trend is up. I like it. I think medium term, it looks like that this gap will be tested, and for this prices would need to come up to the 500 level. Yep, good one. Okay,
And Aubrey wants to know what you make of GTLS.
GTLS. Oops, GTLS. Chart Industries, specialty industrial machinery. All right,
So he's saying that
bullish.
there's some weird price action. There's a
Yeah,
gap up on earnings on July 25th.
there is a guess. So yeah, it is kind of very strange in the sense that huge gap, but then completely flat price action
Yeah,
afterwards.
it's strange.
Yeah, I have no explanation for this. That's surprising because typically after such a huge gap, prices are fluctuating much bigger. But right at resistance now, here, yeah, not sure what causes this. It's kind of strange, and if something looks strange to me, I typically stay away from it. That's my view. Um, yeah, it's a bullish stock, but a
You don't
big,
like surprises, eh, Daniel?
not when it comes to money. Yeah,
Yeah, kidding.
yeah.
That's a good point.
All right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, X was a fallen angel. That's the topic for Johnny Savile and his webinars, the Ventra. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, a little heads up, we'll be hosting Johnny Savile from Acorn Wealth in September. He's going to be a guest speaker. It's going to be an awesome webinar where he's going to present some of his key setups. So we're going to announce this soonish.
Let's just see. There was also one, just last one. Lenny clarified this because we were looking at PLTR, but in fact it was PTIR. It's an ETF.
Oh, okay, Pete. Yeah, I don't think we have it in there. PTIR. Let me just see here. PTIR.
Thanks for that clarification, Lenny.
Granite shares, that one. Okay. Yeah, it looks bullish to me. Zombie retrace, that looks interesting. I like it. Yeah. Oh, it's a new one. Yeah, not much price action here to go off from. So limited data available. But yeah, definitely resistance was broken. Move up. This gap was filled. And I think, yeah, we may see another move further up. Interesting one. Good.
We do have a couple more. I don't know if we should stop it here or did you want to, and people can email us?
Yeah, I think send us a note. 1.5 hours, I think, is a decent time for a webinar. Send us a note if something was not clear, if you have questions. And of course, we will be back. We have webinars all the time. Our next webinar will be on Tuesday already at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely we can cover some questions there. And of course, then we will be back once again next Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, 1 hour earlier than today, for our next live scanning session. And in fact, as you know, new setups are coming in every single trading day. Whenever the market closes, new stocks will become interesting. We would have perhaps approached a level, maybe create a new setup for us, which we can look at. And every single day, this is part of my routine, I check the dashboard. And oftentimes I act on the trades I see quite successfully so far. So yeah, this is my routine. I like swing trading. I like options trading. And this is a dashboard designed exactly for this purpose. All
And
right,
Daniel, we
guys.
did have a few new users that joined us, so welcome. I
Yeah,
noticed some questions in there about the dashboard. One of them was from John, who
oops.
wanted to know how the indicators work on the dashboard. So if you do have a subscription to those indicators, you don't need to purchase them. They're part of the dashboard subscription. So the
Yeah,
indicators that we did show today
just
that are part of the dashboard, just to reiterate, if you do have the dashboard as a subscription, those are included in your
yeah,
subscription. And besides our indicators that are on the dashboard, which are the Liquidity IQ, MA Rush, Trend Radar, and we had a new one for earnings.
the clock.
Um,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, there are also hundreds of other indicators there that you can access.
Yeah,
And
you can see them all. They're all built in. These are the often the standard trading view indicators, but we also, of course, have our own ones. You can see them here, which are included with your dashboard subscription. And on this topic, why don't you just try it out? It's completely free, no risk whatsoever for 1 week at tradingindicators.com/view. You get instant access and then you can check it out. Then you get also all the resources and training material once you come on board. We do have a boot camp, a 2 hour boot camp record where we explain every single feature. There's so many other features which we didn't even go through. We can look at dividends and earnings and gaps and risk and reward ratios and so trade alerts. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. So yeah, give it a try and see if this could be something for you. All right. With this, well, thank you so much. I wish you a nice Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, depending on where you are, perhaps Saturday afternoon or Saturday night or Sunday morning, perhaps, if you're joining us from Australia. And hopefully see you soon at our next webinar, which the next one is next Tuesday. You're going to get the invite in the mail. And then next Saturday again at 12 p.m. Eastern time for our next live scanning session. With this, enjoy your long weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, in fact, here in Canada and in the US. And yeah, take some time off, stay safe, and talk to you soon. Thank you, Homa, for your help. Bye-bye.
thanks, everyone. Bye.